It's another outing on Class Online School. Today we are taking another subject or another subheading under our business study class. Today we are going to talk about bookkeeping. We are going to deliberate extensively on bookkeeping. We've finished forms of businesses. We've talked about honesty in business. So now we are going to go into the accounting areas of business studies. So I am introducing you to the accounting section of business study. We are going to talk about bookkeeping. What is bookkeeping? What is the importance of bookkeeping? And what are the qualities of a bookkeeper? Let's take it one at a time. Bookkeeping has to do with the day-to-day recording of financial transaction that took place in the organization. And most times they are recorded on a daily basis. All the transaction that took place in the business. It ensures that records of individual financial transactions are correct. So the bookkeeping process has to be very correct. It has to be up to date, and it has to be accurate. Because if it is not accurate, it can't be used effectively. Bookkeeping is very effective. Why it's effective is because it is how you record your financial transaction. What goes on in the business, your purchase, your sales, and whatever comes in or goes out of the business in form of finance. That is what bookkeeping is. And let me go over it again. Bookkeeping has to do with the day-to-day recording of business transaction that took place in the organization. It can be in purchase, it can be in sales. Whatever comes in and goes out of the business is recorded. And the recording have to be very accurate. It have to be very correct. It have to be up to date to make it an effective bookkeeping. So if you are employed in an organization to be a bookkeeper, that means you have to be up and doing. Whatever you are recording must be correct. Whatever you are recording must be up to date. Whatever you are recording must be very accurate, so that it will serve the purpose that makes you to keep this transactional record or this financial record. Having seen what bookkeeping is, now we are going to talk about the importance. Why do we keep records? Why do we do proper bookkeeping records in business study, in our organization, in our personal business, even in our home? Number one reason it's a kind of measure of performance. It measures performance. Measures performance. It measures performance. At a glance, you're able to know the expenses or the income that comes into the business because it's already recorded. In our next class, we'll talk about documents used in recording under bookkeeping. It measures performance. Then another thing is, it helps in making decisions. If the owner of the business or board members see the recordings, the financial recordings that have been kept, it will enable them to know whether they are going to expound, whether they are going to downsize, whether they are going to diversify or do other things. That's another thing bookkeeping helps the organization or individuals to do. Helps them to make proper decisions. Then number 3, provide strategic information. Strategic information in the sense that you will know how much raw materials or finished products that comes into the business, or what you are taking out of the business, what quantity, at what amount, what is the business going to pay out. So it's like strategizing, because you already know the true state of the business. That's another importance of bookkeeping. Then it tells you the true position of the organization. Under bookkeeping, we have the profit and loss account. We have the balance sheet. And this can only be extracted through the day-to-day transaction keeping of the organization. So at a glance, because these records have been kept already, at a glance you will know the true position of the business you are in, of the business you are running. So having known the business and known the true position, decision making can be very quick. You know what to do, at what time, and what not to do at a particular time. Another thing is, it limits the pain of an auditor. For limited liability companies or partnership businesses, these organizations or these businesses are audited from time to time. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, it can be semi-yearly, it can be yearly, depending on the organizational policy or when the organization fixes their editing or auditing point. The auditor will not have to look for information to audit the company from, since the day-to-day recording of the organization is already kept, and so it's just to flip through and see how he can work with these materials that are already handy. So the pain of an editor to go through so many pains in order to get to the root of how the financial transaction of the organization goes will not be there. It has been eliminated because of appropriate bookkeeping. That's another importance of keeping books. Then it gives you a clear picture of the healthiness of your company. Like I told you, we'll get to a point where we'll talk about the P&L, which is the profit and loss account. The profit and loss account tells you the profit that is coming into the business, the loss that is coming into the business. And at the end of the day, you make sure that your profit and your loss are equated to see whether you are making profit or you are running at a loss. So, the day-to-day keeping of the bookkeeping of the business tells you that the organization is running at a loss, they are gaining, or they are running at equilibrium. They are at a break-even point. So you know the health of your organization or business. Is it healthy? Is it sick? Are we just on a balance point? Do we need to do something to make it to improve? This is what bookkeeping helps you to know, because at a glance you know what is happening. That's another importance of bookkeeping. Then you make sure that you are not mixing out any transaction, because by the time you pick up a day-to-day transaction, you will know whether there are some transactions that were not recorded over the period of time or for that day. So it helps you to keep track of your transaction, not to mix out. Because if you miss out, it means that you don't have accurate, up-to-date, correct record of your business. And for a business to function effectively, there must be an up-to-date information. There must be an accurate information. And there must be a correct information to show the true financial statement of the organization. So it has to be well recorded. That's another thing not to miss out. Then, the number 8 point is planning for business become easier. You know when to diversify. You know when to increase production. You know how much is coming in and going out. Because planning here has to do with how the organization or the business will run smoothly. So with the financial statement, it will help you to know at what direction the planning has to go toward, at what direction the organization has to move towards. But if the transaction unit or the financial unit is not doing well, records are not kept, you can't just wake up and start making decisions based on what you think or based on how you feel the business is going without checking out the financial area of the business. So this is why bookkeeping is very important. No good business functions well without good bookkeeping. Then the ninth one is proper and easy reporting. There are people you report to, like the government, the auditing company, or the auditors. You need to report to these individuals. Even the manager, these individuals have to know what is going on in the business. So that is the ninth one. The 10th importance of bookkeeping has to do with fulfilling tax obligation. There are public organizations that requires publishing their financial accounts on newspaper or to the general public. With daily transaction or daily recording of the business transaction, they will be able to ascertain where they are making profit, where they are making losses, and the organization can be taxed appropriately. So they won't find it difficult to give a true financial stand of the organization. That is the 10th importance. So having discussed about what bookkeeping is, the importance, now we want to talk about the qualities of a bookkeeper. Who is a bookkeeper? The individual who does the day-to-day recording of the bookkeeping process is called a bookkeeper. That person, it can be a male, it can be a female, who keeps the day-to-day records, financial records of the organization, is called a bookkeeper. Now, having known who a bookkeeper is, what are the qualities that is required of a bookkeeper? Number one quality is the person must be a good communicator. Good communicator. This individual must have a good command of the English language or whichever language he communicates with the people. So he must have an excellent communication skill. Excellent communication skill. That is one of the qualities of a bookkeeper. Number two, he should be able to use modern technology in recording his transaction. There are modern technology used in recording financial business transaction. We have Excel, and we have the advanced Excel and other softwares that are used in recording financial transaction. So he should be one, or he or she should be one, who should be able to use this equipment or use these softwares, work with these softwares. So he should be able to develop himself to be able to use this modern skill. From time to time, these skills, these softwares are upgraded. He should follow the trend so he can function or she can function effectively in his organization. Then another one is, he should be one who is ready to work as a team, because his work requires him getting information from different directions. So he is in a position, or she is in a position, to work as a team with others to achieve the goal, the objective, the purpose of the organization. So he gets his information, the marketing, the purchase, the sales, whichever angle, the admin, he gets his information from all angles. So he should be a team worker. He can't work alone. He can't work in isolation. He or she cannot be an island on their own, but definitely work as a team with others to function effectively. So teamwork, it's another thing that a bookkeeper needs to imbibe. Then he should be flexible in adopting different recording process. If he is used to one recording process and there is need for the bookkeeper to adopt another kind of recording process, then he should be able to adapt. Flexibility is very important in bookkeeping, because you run different books of accounts. You will learn about that in our subsequent classes. So these books of account must not just be one book of account. We have different books of an account that he or she have to do recordings or entries into. So he or she should be flexible in working with these books of account. Then another quality he should possess is developing himself or herself. Self-development is very important. It's like investing in yourself. And when you invest in yourself, you will see it. You'll find out that you become a better person, a better version. You become competent. You become better at what you do. So, as a bookkeeper, you make sure that you are always developing yourself to keep trend. The trend of bookkeeping changes. The trend of technology changes. If you remain fixed where you are today, and in 10 years' time, well, all the modern technology you are using to work have phased out and you've not developed yourself, then your work is going to suffer and you won't function effectively. That means you won't progress in your organization. And before you know it, you are out of your job. So the bookkeeper should be one who is able to improve him or herself. Then, the number 7 point is the bookkeeper must be well organized. Since you have different books of accounts you record, you have cash received, cash going out, purchase. That's how transaction comes from different angles. Imagine that you are not a well-organized person and your files are littered, or your jobs in the computer are not well organized. Then your work becomes shabby and it will not look good and nice. And before you know it, you won't have an accurate record of what you are doing. You won't be up to date in what you are doing. And the accuracy of your job will be questioned. So the individual who wants to be a bookkeeper must be very organized. Very, very organized. So that all your work will be neatly kept where and when they are supposed to be done. Then we have time management. Since you have different jobs coming in, jobs come from the purchase, job comes from the sales, from the marketing, your time has to be well managed. If your times are not, the time you are using to do your recording are not well managed, you find out that you run out of time before the end of your daily job. So make sure that you strategize. This time is meant for this, the other time is meant for this, the other time, so that at the end of the day, before the end of the day, you are able to accomplish all that you have put in your to-do list. Then, another quality, that brings us to the to-do list, the number 8 skill. Make sure as a bookkeeper you have a to-do list. You come in the morning, you tell yourself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Itemize them, either in a small jotter or mentally. And when you put them down there, you follow as you have put them down. At the end of the day, you find out that you do more than you would have done if you have not gotten a checklist or to-do list. Then, a bookkeeper must be qualified. You need an education. You need to be qualified to do your job. So you must be trained. You must be trained. We have the Association of Bookkeeping or Bookkeepers. And we'll have the Association of Business Educators. We'll have those in the accounting section, the ICANN, the ANAN, and other professional organizations that helps you. They train you to be better bookkeeper or better accountants. So you must be educated or get a degree in your field of study. So one individual has to be educated to be able to know what to do, how to do it, and how to function effectively. And lastly, the bookkeeper must be a confident person, because you are going to stand before different individuals. You stand before your manager, you stand before the auditor, you stand before any person that requires you giving a true financial statement of your organization. Now, assuming you are not confident of who you are, then it becomes a problem. So you must learn to be confident. You must develop confidence so that you can function effectively in your job. So we've been able to discuss these three subheadings under bookkeeping. What bookkeeping is, the importance of bookkeeping, the qualities of a bookkeeper. So please do well. Listen to these video classes again so that you'll be able to master these classes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of our class. Until our next class, I will see you.